Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to do an update into Skillz stock. This has been highly requested, so I'm going to take a look on this one, look at the year that's just gone by and what I think about Skillz in 2021, and also what my thoughts are about Skillz going into 2022. So I hope the video is useful. If it is, hit the like button. If you're new, subscribe, and we'll take a look. So first off, let's talk about the stock chart, because I think this is probably the reason why I've been asked so much to talk about Skillz, is because of the stock price action rather than anything that's changed with the business. Because I haven't really talked about Skillz for such a long time, just because there hasn't really been any updates that have been like, oh, that's probably worth a video. So yeah, that's why I've not really talked about it. But I think a few people have been asking me to do a video because of the stock price going down. Now, fair enough. If I just want to make this point very clear, because I really hate this when I see this. Is that if you want me to do a video on a stock because I haven't talked about it for a while, that's fair enough. The only reason why I've not talked about it because there isn't really too much to update you on, and I'll just be repeating stuff that I said previously on a video like this. But if you are wanting me to do a video on Skillz because the stock price is going down, then that's worrying. You know, if you're asking me to do a video because you're looking at a stock and the stock price has gone down and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to hold that investment, or what should I do here, then that's probably not what I want to see. I want to, when you're buying stocks, you personally need to have that conviction, and you can't buy that stock because someone else had that conviction. Because when you have stock prices that go down like this, if they go down like this and you have no conviction, or you don't know why you buy the stock, you will start questioning yourself. And that's why you need to know why you own that stock, not because someone else owns that stock. So I just want to make that point very clear, because I feel like a few people have asked me to talk about this because I haven't talked about it for a while, but I think a few people are asking me to talk about it because they don't have conviction in a stock that they invested in, and you need to have that. So I just wanted to make that point very clearly. But anyway, going back onto the point of Skillz, yeah, it's been a rough year for Skillz in 2021. Well, actually, the start of it was actually pretty good, but the back end of it, it got caught up in the growth stock sell-off, the small market cap sell-off, and it's been hurt an absolute ton. Now, when I bought into this stock, it was around about November 2020. So my average on this stock is actually now, I believe it's around like $13-ish. So I started buying here when very close to when it got announced. I think it was the day after it got announced as a SPAC, actually, that they were going to merge together. And then from there, the stock went on an absolute crazy run, probably definitely up to very high prices, probably, well, I'd easily say overvalued prices for sure. And then unfortunately it got hit by short sellers, a short seller report, and then it had a massive fall off the cliff. And then we actually went up to about $20 again around June time. I remember I actually sold a bit of my position at the time for a fair bit of profit then. So even though I've held this stock for a year, I have sold it for some good profit around there. I trimmed the position slightly, but then since then it has fallen down even lower. And yeah, I mean, obviously we're down at $6 right now. And I've got to say, like, I really did, from when we came onto the stock market as a SPAC in November, you look at the progress that we've made in, just over a year. The company has made so much progress from where it was back here. The progress it has made is fantastic. So when I do look at this, obviously I think that when it got to this point, it was due a pullback, but I do feel like looking at Skillz at $6 right now is quite unfair. I don't think it deserves to be down at these sort of prices, lower than where it was previously, especially when the progress it's made on the revenue growth, the acquisitions that it's made. So yeah, I think that when you do look at the stock market price point of view, it was due a pullback, but I probably don't think it was due to go from $43 down to $6. That's probably a fair bit of overreaction. I still think, in my opinion, I do think Skillz should be in that $10 to $20 range. That is always where I said that I believe Skillz should be. So for me, I am surprised to see it go this low. But getting on to Skillz again, it is a mobile game company. What it does multiplayer video games that are on iOS and Android, and it does this through esports and wager matches. So yeah, this is a massive growing industry. Mobile gaming, esports being competitive, people watching games, and it was founded in 2012, so it's still quite a newish company. And this is the big thing, esports is growing a huge amount, mobile's growing a huge amount, and that wager side of it, there's a lot of expansion here for Skillz in this sort of industry, which I really like. Now, the Skillz website itself is pretty bare because obviously it's an Android and iOS mobile platform, so it's not really too bothered about having a fancy website. But I just wanted to use this for the game side of it. They've got plenty of good games here. One that I actually regularly play is this one here. This is a pretty good one, and there's also another one which I wonder if I can find very quickly. Oh, it's not on here, but I think it's called Bubble Shooter. That's also another one that I like. But these ones have been really popular. Blackout Bingo is always a popular one. Big Buck Hunter is always a popular one. But yeah, those are the two that personally I like to play. And like I said earlier, you know, mobile gaming, huge growing area. You know, you look at the console games, 2.3% growth. You look at PC games, 3.1% growth. But what's the big growing area? Mobile gaming, 26%. Now, why is this such a big growing area? Well, you don't really have females, both play it. It's not really a dominated gender gaming area. So yeah, that's the big thing. It opens it up to males and females. B, all age ranges. You know, PC gaming, console gaming, probably you would say ages of mainly, you know, probably 10 to 30ish. But with mobile gaming, it's pretty much all ages. And the big thing as well is, you know, for PC gaming, console gaming, you need to go out and buy either a decent PC to do the games, or you have to probably go out and pay for a console. But with mobile gaming, you know, everyone has mobile phones. You already have the gaming device with you. So that's the big thing. You know, people are always going to have mobile phones, and that's why it's growing so fast. So, you know, this is the fastest growing gaming area out there, which is great. And the one thing that I'm a massive fan of is buying into companies that have great management teams. And I feel like they have that in Skillz. The founder CEO is Andrew Paradise, and he's currently obviously trying to make Skillz a very successful company. But the big thing I like about him is that he has a very successful past, and as he has gone through his career, has only got better at having more and more successful firms. So, for example, what he did in 2008 is he had his business, which was Double Picture, which was eventually sold to a public company, MPA Inc. And then his last company before he founded Skillz, he had a company called iBuyer, which then was sold to Intuit for a price of 80 to 100 million in April 2012. So now in 2012, he's set up Skillz, which is now his most successful company, because obviously it's worth, I think, 2 billion, 3 billion is it on the market cap now? Let's just have a quick look. Where is my Skillz chart? 2 billion. So yeah, now he is in 2012, well, since 2012 to 2022, has now founded his most successful company, which is worth 2.4 billion. So yeah, this is what I like about Skillz. It has a good management team. It has a founder in Andrew Paradise that has a very successful background. And I'll be honest with you, more than likely the outcome for Skillz I do see in the long term is probably to be bought out by someone down the road anyway. Now, Skillz itself has a fantastic track record here. You'll see the growth of 50 million to 126 million, and even now after, you know, really tough period of comparisons, you know, everyone being at home, mobile gaming, even this year they're looking at, you know, they're at 342 million on the revenue side of it, and going forward we're probably going to see this company start putting in by the end of this year here 548 million in revenue, which is great, and on the path to really putting in nearly 1 billion in revenue in the next couple of years, which will be absolutely amazing. So the revenue growth here has been absolutely amazing from this company. The only little negative that I do have is the losses side of it. So historically, Skillz lost around 20 million, but recently they have seen a massive increase in the losses. This is the only little thing that I need Skillz to start improving on now, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a second. But yeah, they need to stop increasing these losses. Now, a lot of that has gone from sales and marketing to they have made some acquisitions, but that's the one key thing that I really need them. The revenue side of it has been so impressive. That's the only one little thing I want them to start improving going forward. And recently as well, there's been a little bit of insider buying in the company, which is good. Also in the ownership, you can see here, like I said, it's a founder-led company, and the founder, Andrew Paradise, owns 15% of the company here, which is great. That's also something you want to see, you know, skin in the game from the management team. Financial health-wise, I think this is a little bit out of date, so I won't talk about this too much, but they do have a decent-ish balance sheet at the moment. And like I said, what they are expecting to do is this year growing at 69%, which is obviously fantastic after a very hard year, and next year growing another 41%, which would be amazing if they hit them numbers. Don't be too surprised if it is a little bit higher though. So yeah, I think obviously the big thing is losses cannot increase. They need to start going down. So yeah, if they can stop that, that would be absolutely amazing. That's probably my biggest worry that I have for them at the moment. Valuation point of view, it's such a cheaper valuation right now. So you'll see here that at the start of last year in 2021, you can see that the total enterprise value to revenues was 19. Now it's dropped all the way down to a 3, so that is a massive decrease here. And on a price to sales ratio point of view, 19 once again down to a 4. So you see the drop off here. There's not too many more metrics or historic metrics we can use because we've only just come onto the stock market. But yeah, you can see the actual drop off here on the valuation point of view, which, like I said, I think it was quite overvalued, but now I think I look at these sort of, the valuation it's at, and I'm looking at that going, 4 times sales, 3 times enterprise to revenues. That's what I mean. It is incredibly sold off at the moment. One of the recent investments that I like is that Skillz has invested 50 million into exit games. I think this is a really good move. So, like I said earlier, previously the games that they've had, if any of you guys have ever played any of them, are very basic games. So, the Skillz hasn't really had like a massive game yet. All these Skillz have done okay, but they're not really top 10 in an app store kind of games. So the games are good, but they haven't really been anything too fancy. But with the investment in exit games, this will allow Skillz to carry on improving that kind of esports, having games where they're a lot more like battle royale games. So I think the developers that you could see being attracted to the Skillz platform now, once again, will increase as well. So I think this is a really good move for having more detailed and exciting games going forward. And also, one of the investments they made recently was a advertising platform. So they acquired Arky. So I think this is really good because obviously if you can get more benefit, if you have your own advertising platform rather than going to other agencies to advertise, this is obviously going to save a huge amount of cost, which is, once again, which we talked about earlier, is improving the loss side of it. And advertising is very key to Skillz platform. So I think this is a really good acquisition and should help with the losses going forward and obviously help the growth going forward. So yeah, this would be very exciting to see this kind of come into Skillz in the next year and how much difference that makes. And one of the big things is the NFL deal. So we should see this start to be launched recently or soon. So obviously the big thing with Skillz is that if you have the NFL partnership, once again you have that branding awareness. We've seen the likes of Beyond Meat with the McPlant Burger, NFL, Skillz, having people come onto your Skillz platform, using that branding from the NFL side of it. This is going to be a really exciting launch for Skillz going forward. And also they've launched into India, so Skillz only really focuses on the US. You can get some of the apps in the UK side of it, but it doesn't really focus on the UK. It really only focuses on the US. And yeah, now they're moving into India, and this is going to be a massive market for them going forward, so it would be good to see how that develops going through 2022. Now, going into the actual SEC filings, you'll see here the jump in revenue has been amazing through September. Cost of revenue is great, so they have really good margins. So if you take out a lot of sales and marketing, this company is easily profitable, but I think the problem is that sales and marketing is also supporting the growth, so that's also what you have to balance out here. But yeah, you'll see here the research and development has increased a little bit. I would suggest that is because of the acquisitions that they've made recently, looking into the acquisition of Arky and Exit Games, so that's probably why that's jumped up a little bit. Sales and marketing, you can see, is jumped up a huge amount. This is my only little bit of a concern, is that I really do want to see that sales and marketing be controlled slightly a little bit more going forward. I think it's been pushing that because of the hard comparisons that we've had, and also Arky should help that going forward. So yeah, that's the only little worry that I do have with that point of view. But general and admin, that's jumped up a huge amount as well because of the acquisition side of it. So you can see here that the loss from operations has jumped a huge amount, and that's my only little concern. But hopefully going into 2022, for the reasons that I said earlier, they do start controlling that a little bit more. That's my only little worry. But from a revenue point of view, obviously it's on huge amounts, doing great numbers at the moment. Now the big thing with Skillz is it makes a lot of its money from people coming onto its platform and not actually playing the games, because it doesn't advertise on the platform. It's actually from players coming onto the game and using the wager system to, like, oh, I'll challenge you to a match, and you put $1 forward, I put $1 forward, and the winner takes whatever the prize money is, or entering tournaments through the platform. And the more that builds up, that's obviously going to be great. So when Skillz actually goes to advertising, it actually doesn't attract like players to come on the platform. That's probably why you'll never see Skillz games advertised. It's actually to get people to encourage to use the wager side of the platform. So the actual monthly active users never grow an actual huge amount, but the average revenue per user, you can see, has nearly doubled. Well, not nearly doubled, but increased a huge amount, which is great. And you'll see here the paying monthly active users as well has had a bit of an increase as well. So yeah, as long as they carry on improving this part of the platform and people are waging more and using more money, that's actually great. The other kind of point of Skillz is that does it go to more of the classic mobile games, which are getting people to come on the platform and then using adverts. So they don't do that at the moment, but obviously when you've got this amount of users on the platform, what would be very interesting is that if you then actually push that and advertise, which is also an option that Skillz has going forward. So we'll see if they use that going forward, but that's obviously a path that Skillz could go down going forward. Now, the only little negative that I have seen from Skillz over the last 12 months was they have raised a little bit of debt. Now, I don't mind them raising a little bit of debt because they are probably going to lose the money for a very long time, and they will need the cash. My problem is that they took this debt out, but it's at how much the interest rate was. I wasn't a fan of this move, so this is only probably one of the negatives that I've seen from Skillz in the last 12 months. Not too much of a fan of this. So I don't mind them taking debt on. It's just the interest rate they did take it on at. It's not down here, but I think it was something like, I think it was like 10%, which is massive. So yeah, that's the only little negative that I have seen from Skillz in the last 12 months. But in 2021, I think it showed you how much potential the mobile gaming industry has. EA, they bought Glue, massive company, 2.1 billion, and the other really big public company that was on the stock market, which was Zynga. You might have seen this happen start of this year. They were acquired by Take-Two and they bought them for 12.7 billion. So I think this sort of shows you how big this mobile gaming industry is, and I think that you look at someone like a Skillz that has like this ability, like a Zynga, like a Glue, that these guys that historically do a lot of mobile gaming the traditional way with buy-ins in the game and advertising. Skillz is a bit more unique with its esports platform, but I think when you look at the history of what Andrew Paradise does, the buyouts in this sort of industry, this is why I think it shows you how hot this industry still is, and that potentially further down the line I wouldn't be too surprised if someone did look at Skillz and go, this would be quite a good purchase for us. So I think these are two figures I'm just going to share, showing how good this industry actually is. So overall, I think Skillz had a very good 2021, and their financials were impressive. They then also increased their outlook multiple times through the year. So I think the 2021 from Skillz was very good. 2022, same again. I'm just hoping for the same, decent amounts of growth. Try and control them losses a bit more this year with the investments that they made. But everything else is going quite good. I still think this stock should be at least in the double-digit range. So I do think it's just taking a bit of a beating at the moment, and sooner or later it will start coming back into favour. But while a lot of these small growth stocks are killed off, this will be killed off. But when it comes to because it's gone down, do I panic sell? Not really, because nothing's really changed for me, for the business side of it. It's still going where I believe it will go in the next few years. So yeah, everything with Skillz, I'm still pretty happy with it. I guess that takes me on to, will I buy the stock anymore? I don't have any plans to buy the stock. The reason why is, first of all, so I started buying the stock in November 2020. So normally when I start buying stocks, I buy them for about a year-ish, and over a year that normally takes into account any sort of dips in the share price, and that I can build a decent position. Now the problem with Skillz is that it just hasn't worked out that way on the share price point of view, because from November 2020 to November 2021, the share price has basically gone up from $13 up to whatever it was, $40+, and then even at the back end of November 2021, it then started to dip below my average, but I was pretty well fully built on the position now, and it unfortunately has worked out that just after the 12-month period, 13, 14 months down the line, it has now gone down to $6, and I'm pretty well built in that position. So timing wise, this one hasn't really worked out for me, which is a bit annoying. So yeah, from that reason, I probably won't buy, just because I've really started to build up my full position in the company over the 12-month period. Sometimes it happens like that, but it's a little bit frustrating. But yeah, I don't really, because I'm fully built now, I don't want to add any more in. But like I said, I'm still not planning on selling because it's gone down, because I still think this company will once go back up to that $13 price average that I have, and even more going forward. So I'm not selling from that point of view. And also the other reason is that because I'm fully built on the position now, for me to go buy down at $6 would mean increasing my allocated position. And when you have a stock like Skillz, it's a little bit of a higher risk stock. It's a company that is unprofitable. It's probably going to be unprofitable for the next 2 years, which if it's going to be unprofitable for the next 2 years, I put in a bit of a high risk category. And with it being a bit more of a higher risk stock, I can't really put that into a top position in my portfolio because there's a little bit more of that risk with it, that little bit more volatility. So with it being that sort of stock, even though I would love to buy it at $6, I'm just not going to, because there's a point where you have to kind of, even if you love a company, you have to take that risk into account. And with Skillz, with it being that unprofitable company, I do have to be a little bit careful on that. So yeah, I'm not planning to buy just because I am fully built on the position and I don't want to go back to past my allocation, just because it does have that little bit of a higher risk side of it, higher risk to it. And also my third point of view is that if I did want to buy Skillz, I also have to take into consideration what's going on right now in the whole stock market scene. You have quality companies that have just been absolutely, killed off. Now, Skillz, in my opinion, is a good company, but is it a high quality company? Not as high quality as companies like an InMode, for example, that is growing absolutely amazing rates and amazing amounts of profit, or a Shopify, for example, or any other stock like a Square, for example. There's Boohoo. In my opinion, right now, there's a lot of quality companies on sale. And once again, I have limited amounts of cash, and I have to design where my cash is best going to, which are the best opportunities. And unfortunately for Skillz, as much as I do like the company, it's not top of my buying list right now. So that's also why I've not really put as much priority on that one as, say, other ones at the moment. Right now, what are on sale. So yeah, that also has taken into consideration. So with them three things combined, that's why I'm not buying personally anymore at the moment. But I still like the company and I'm still holding the company for the long term anyway. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope that was a little bit useful. If it was, hit the like button. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you next video.